Right now, your brain won't stop. It's replaying a conversation from 3 days ago, rewriting what you should have said, running through everything that could go wrong tomorrow. And somewhere in the background, it's still analyzing the fact that you're analyzing. You call it overthinking, you call it anxiety, you call it being unable to switch off. But what if some of it is simply the price of having a brain powerful enough to simulate realities that don't exist? Because intelligence gives you something most creatures never have to deal with. You can suffer through the past, you can suffer through the future, and you can suffer through events that haven't even happened. Your brain can take a conversation that lasted 30 seconds and replay it for 3 days. It can take a mistake that happened years ago and make it emotionally present again. It can imagine someone you love dying even while they're sitting right beside you. That ability has a name: mental time travel. Your brain can leave the present and reconstruct another moment entirely. And this ability is extraordinary. It lets you plan, predict, create, learn from mistakes, imagine consequences before they happen. It may be one of the most powerful cognitive abilities humans possess. But there is a catch. Your brain doesn't always know when to stop. Deep inside this process is a network of brain regions researchers call the default mode network. The name is misleading. It sounds like your brain is doing nothing. It's not. This network becomes highly active when your attention turns inward, when you're remembering, imagining, thinking about yourself, or constructing possible futures. In other words, when the outside world becomes quiet, your inner world can become incredibly loud. And researchers have repeatedly found something uncomfortable about that inner world. The more your mind wanders away from what you're actually doing, the more vulnerable you can become to unhappiness. You're sitting at dinner, but thinking about tomorrow. You're driving home, but replaying something someone said. You're lying in bed, but having an argument that exists entirely inside your head. Your body is in one moment, your mind is somewhere else, and sometimes it's everywhere at once. So here's the uncomfortable part. A more cognitively capable brain has more tools for doing this. More possibilities to consider, more consequences to predict, and more connections to make, more versions of reality to simulate. That doesn't mean intelligent people are destined to be miserable. They aren't. But the same cognitive machinery that allows deeper analysis can also give you more material to analyze. And when that machinery turns inward, it can become a loop. Have you ever replayed the same conversation so many times that you started analyzing why you were replaying it in the first place? Drop your answer in the comments. Because that's where this gets even stranger. Your brain doesn't just think, it can think about its own thinking. Psychologists call this metacognition. You don't simply have a thought, you can notice that you're having the thought, then judge the thought, then question why you had it, then wonder what that says about you. And suddenly, you're no longer solving the original problem. You're studying yourself solving the problem. Imagine you have a terrible day at work. You make a mistake. A simple mind might register it as, I messed up. Your brain might go somewhere else. Why did I mess up? Then, why do I always do this? Then, maybe I'm not as capable as I thought. Then, what if other people noticed? Then, what if this happens again? And now you're not thinking about the mistake anymore. You're building an entire future around it. That's rumination. And this is where intelligence can become its own trap. Because the brain is incredibly good at finding patterns. Give it one painful event, and it will search for an explanation. Give it an explanation, and it will search for evidence. Give it evidence, and it may start building a story about who you are. The machine designed to solve problems can accidentally turn you into the problem it keeps trying to solve. And evolution never gave this system a proper off switch, because for most of human history, this kind of mental simulation had an obvious purpose. Imagine tomorrow's hunt. Remember where the predator appeared. Predict what another person might do. Notice the pattern that almost got you killed last time. The ability to mentally simulate danger could be incredibly useful, but your brain evolved in a world where many threats were immediate. The predator eventually disappeared. The storm eventually passed. The hunt eventually ended. There was a natural stopping point. Modern life removed many of those stopping points. Now the threat can be an unanswered message. A conversation from last week. A mistake your boss may or may not have noticed. A future that hasn't happened. A version of yourself you think you should already have become. There is no predator walking away into the trees, so your brain keeps searching and searching and searching. This is why the quietest moments can sometimes become the loudest. You're finally alone. Nothing is happening. And suddenly, everything is happening inside your head. But here's the part I want you to remember. Having a mind that does this doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're destined to be unhappy. And it doesn't mean intelligence itself causes misery. The real problem is when a powerful simulation system loses its ability to return to the present, because the same mind that can torture you with imaginary futures can also create them. The same ability that lets you replay your worst mistake can let you learn from it. The same imagination that makes you fear what could happen can help you build something that has never existed before. Your brain's greatest strength and its greatest vulnerability may come from the exact same place. It can leave the present. The question is whether it knows how to come back. So the next time you catch yourself replaying a conversation for the 10th time, or predicting a disaster that hasn't happened, or analyzing your own thoughts until you're exhausted, don't immediately ask, "What's wrong with me?" Ask something different. Is this thought helping me solve something, or is my brain simply refusing to let the simulation end? Because sometimes the smartest thing your brain can do is stop thinking and come back to the moment that is actually happening. Subscribe for more on the hidden psychology and neuroscience shaping your everyday life, and watch this one next.